Welcome to Chronic Health. I'm your host, Ryan Lovelace. And in this episode, I'm going to start a brand new series I'm calling One Simple Rule. And what I want to do with this series is give you just a very simple, very basic rule to follow that you can apply to your life to start yourself down your journey of chronic health. Start your healthy lifestyle. Start your journey to where you want to be. And this is where I give just one simple thing. Put all your efforts, put all your focus into one simple thing and let this be your starting point. So that way you're starting, it doesn't feel like you're taking on everything. I need to get a gym membership, and I need to replace all my healthy foods with good ones, and I need to only drink water, and take out the stuff I don't like. No. Just follow this one simple rule, and this will get you started. And then from there, you can see what you're comfortable with. You can see what you can do, and then you'll be inspired to add more. Because, like, man, if I could stick to that, why can't I stick to something else? Something I want to do with this channel is I want to make this channel. I want to give you some of the simplest, easiest things to follow to just get you down your life of health. I wanna break down the complexities. I wanna demystify the things that are around getting healthy and getting fit. Because a lot of times, automatically, if I were to say, let's live a healthier lifestyle, let's get fit, let's get in shape. What are your fitness goals? Where do you want to be physically? Where do you want to be mentally? One thing we often think of is okay, I want to get in shape, so I have to get a gym. And then mentally you start thinking of all the different reasons you can't go to the gym. Too expensive, don't have enough time, the gym hours aren't where I want it to be, I don't know what to do within the gym, I don't have anybody to go with. And then even before you get started, you've already talked yourself out of it. So the point of this series and this channel is to give you simple, easy things you can do that you can start with and add to your life today to make it better on down the line. And in today's episode, my one simple rule is portion control. So what is portion control? It's really, it is what it sounds like. It's controlling the portions for which you eat. I'm not saying change up your diet. I'm not saying change what you normally eat and drink. I'm just saying take what you normally eat and drink and eat less. That's all it is. I mean, just controlling the portions for with which you eat. And it's just that simple. I mean, don't change up anything you're eating. Don't change up anything you're buying. Just take what the portions you would normally eat and make it less. So portion control, I like to believe portion control does three simple things. Number one, you eat less food. You're physically eating less, so you're consuming less calories, and then that's less for your body to process. If you're eating a bunch of unhealthy foods, that's less unhealthy foods for your body to process. That means less calories, less fat for your body to store, and less for your body to deal with. That way it can work with what it has. And then if you eat enough less, well, then your body can eat away at the fat you already have. And then you literally are taking in less, so your body has less to be able to store, less fat storage. Number two is it makes you mindful of what you're eating. I think it's so important to be mindful of what you're eating, whether it's good or bad, because when you're not mindful, then you just eat everything in sight. When eating becomes mindless, overeating becomes routine. You're not even thinking about what you're eating. You're not even thinking about how much you're eating. You're just doing what you've always done, and you're just eating just because it's there. You're not mindful of what you're putting into your body, and because you're not thinking about it, you overindulge on this food, or you get that, or because of the compound effect, you get sugary beverages all throughout the day because you're not even thinking. You get foods high in trans fats, foods high in fats in general, foods high in carbs, foods that have a bunch of stuff in it that your body doesn't even process. So that way you're just stacking it all on top, one on top of the other. You're not even thinking about what you're eating because you're not being mindful about what you're eating. And number three is it weans your body off of those foods that your body has become addicted to. Like I've talked to people that drink, lots of amounts of coffee, and they get to where their body craves all that caffeine. And it's not good for you to be drinking, 1-2 pots of coffee a day, but your body becomes addicted to all that caffeine that you have. So if you don't give it what it's used to, it then has a adverse effect. I've talked to people that try to give up coffee when they drink a ton. They talk about the caffeine headaches and how bad they hurt because your body has become so addicted to that substance that you're feeding it, in enormous amounts of, that it begins to crave that. It says, I want that. But it's a healthy way to slowly wean your body off of those unhealthy substances. If you're eating all kinds of, fatty, sugary foods, well, your body becomes addicted and it becomes used to those things. So even if you start a healthier lifestyle, you can say, like, yeah, every time I try to, drink less coffee or eat more vegetables, man, I get sick, I don't feel well, I get a headache. Well, that's because your body's, basically going through withdrawals because it wants those foods that you've been feeding it. But when you slowly eat less, it slowly weans your body off of those foods that your body has become addicted to. And that's one thing you want is you want to move more away from the bad and move more towards the good. I'm not saying completely give up the bad, but just eat less. You put the bad in its proper place. It shouldn't be the majority of what you eat. Good should be the majority of what you eat, but still put the bad foods that you like, put in the minority of what you eat. Now you might be thinking, okay, it's easy to say, just eat less food. That's easy. But what are some practical tips that you can do that you can apply that will just basically automatically result in portion control? Well, here's 3 tips that you can use that'll help you eat less food and help you, get started on being mindful of what you're eating and how much you're eating. Tip number 1 is literally just use smaller plates. Oftentimes we get a big plate, fill our plate up with food, and we eat it. We use what's called visual cues. We see our big plate, we think we got to fill up that big plate, and then once we have our plate of food, we mentally think, we might not physically think, I have to eat all this food, but just you see it, and you go to eat all your food, not because it's what you need or you're that hungry, but just because it's on your plate. You're using a visual cue of how much food is on my plate, so therefore, since it's on my plate, I then have to finish it. Have you ever been eating and most of the stuff is eaten, but there's maybe 1, 2, 3 bites left of the mashed potatoes you had on your plate, and you're thinking, man, I don't want to finish, I'm stuffed, but it's just 3 extra bites. And then you eat those and man, you are just overloaded at that point. Well, that's a visual cue of saying, well, I have just a few bites left, I'll go ahead and eat it. You don't need it. Your body's telling you we don't need it, but you think since I see it on my plate, I have to clean my plate. So if I use smaller plates, well, then I have less room to put food on. And then when I have less room to put food on, I'll just naturally fill it up less and then I'll eat less. So then you still use the visual cue of I have to clean my plate off. But since your plate is smaller, your portions are smaller. And so therefore your consumption will be smaller. Tip number 2 is, and this is a hard one for me, and I go more towards like the smaller plate route. But tip number 2 is don't eat while you're watching television. What television does is it basically like kind of turns off your brain to where you're just focused on what you're watching. You're not really focused on what you're doing. So if you're eating, your brain's focused on the television, on the show that you're watching, and it's not focused on the food you're eating. It's not focused on the signals your body's trying to tell your brain that, hey, we're overloaded, stop eating. It takes about 20 minutes for your body for your body to tell your brain that, hey, we're full, we're to capacity. That process is about 20 minutes. Have you ever been eating and it just seems like you're going strong, eating, you're on your second plate, you're doing good, and then it seems like out of nowhere, you're stuffed. You are filled to the gills. Well, your body finally had a chance to tell your brain, we're full, it's time to stop eating. And then you just think like, oh man, I'm so full, but I have all this food left. And then what do you try and do? You try, I'll try and eat some more. Well, because that 20-minute window finally caught up with you, and then your body told your brain, hey, we're full, cut it off. But you were just going, eating, just going to town on your food because that process takes some time. And then the third tip is wait a few minutes. If you're like me and if there's a dish that you really like, you automatically know, I want seconds for sure. Well, you take your smaller plate, fill it up with the food you like, eat, and then wait a few minutes. If you can, wait 5-10 minutes, see how you feel. If you feel satisfied, you're good. If you feel like, man, I didn't eat it, if you still feel like your stomach is empty, get a little bit more, but you never want to like overstuff yourself. You never want to overstuff your stomach because then you're number one, you're not doing portion control when you overstuff yourself, but then your body has less to deal with. See, your cells that process the food and the natural processes that happens whenever you eat, digestion, your cells can only handle so much of whatever they're processing. And if your body tries to give the cells even more to take care of, what your cell's going to do, they're going to say, hey, I can't do that. Just store that as fat. And so it doesn't even process the way it would normally because it's just so much excess. It says, store that as fat. Don't worry about it. Just get it out of here. We'll use it later. Because your body loves storing excess food or excess energy as fat because to a degree, your body's always in survival mode. It's always thinking ahead. It's always thinking, well, we might not know what our next meal is, so let's save that for later. That's why your body even stores fat. It's your reserves. You save it for a rainy day. It says, okay, we don't need that now, but we might need it later. Store that for next time. So if you just wait a few minutes, you'll feel that your body to tell your brain, I'm full, don't take any more, and then you're satisfied. Now, I would love to tell you this is easy, because disciplining yourself, bringing yourself under control is never easy, but it doesn't get much easier than portion control, because you don't have to change up a single thing of what you're doing. You just have to eat a little bit less. And if you try one or all three of those tips, it will work for you, but you have to put it into action. You can't constantly be talking about it and expect it to eventually take place. You have to do something. If you want to have something different, you must do something different. And portion control is a great way to start. Thank you for tuning into my channel today. If this video helped you out or you learned something new, let me know all about it in the comments below. I post videos every Tuesday morning. If you want to know right when my videos go up, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon. Remember, what you think, what you eat, and what you do will all lead to a life of chronic health. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.